Welcome to Session 3 of our End Times Guide online course, COVID-19 Crisis, End Times Preparation. This third session is called Unbelievers Will Face Increasing Snares and Woes. Doesn't it strike you that the COVID-19 crisis actually forces people apart instead of allowing us to rally together to fight this disease? It's so contagious that the best solution is separation, social distancing. We can see a message in this. God does not want us to rely on just fleshly contacts with other people. He wants us to know others by the Spirit of God. Now, this is especially hard for physical, sexual relationships. Without a physical relationship, how much of a spiritual relationship is left? This lockdown is extra hard for unbelievers when they can't go out to see their friends and lovers, when they're running out of money, when they have a strained relationship with people they live with. It's hard enough for believers. For unbelievers who don't know how to turn to God, this must be a time of torment from which there is no escape except for internet and TV, where they can easily fall into deeper bondage to vulgar social media, porn, TV addictions, or drug addictions if they can manage to store up drug supplies, or cold turkey shakes if they can't. When the lockdown finally ends, we can expect an outbreak of all these stored up, pent up evils. Carousing in the streets, spring break on steroids, brazen sexual displays. Just as we could expect an outbreak of the move of God that is being stored up among God's people, as we explored in the last session. We will come out of this crisis with a more radical distinction between the sacred and the profane, between the bride of Christ and the harlot of Babylon. But we must grow strong enough in our faith to extend this move of God to them, because we were all once as they are now. Ephesians 2:3-7. Among them we too formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh, indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as the rest. But God, being rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our transgressions, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with him and seated us with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, so that in the ages to come he might show the surpassing riches of his grace in kindness toward us in Christ Jesus. To repeat, in the ages to come, he might show the surpassing riches of his grace in the ages to come. We live in a new age. As of 2020, this is the age of the beginning of birth pangs, as we saw in session 1. More birth pangs will come. More disasters will shake the earth. And more riches of his grace will come from Christ for those who turn to him. And as sin has abounded, his grace much more will abound. Romans 5:20. And sin will begin to reach its full measure. Not only will we see brazen carousing, we will see people who are thrown out of work fighting over jobs, especially now that robotics will be replacing many of them. We can hope and pray that the economy will revive and unemployment will go down as before. But in 2020, the United States will make a choice between a free market economy under Trump and a more socialistic economy under the Democratic candidate, no matter who it is. God's favor may rest on Trump as he continues to show favor to Christians and to bless Israel, because we know that whoever blesses Israel will be blessed. Genesis 12:3. So pray that God will extend a grace period to the United States and also to the world for revival to thrive. Pray that God will delay the next birth pang until it's needed again. But eventually more birth pangs will come and more disasters will shake the earth. Believers will keep turning to God for help in disasters, but unbelievers will keep turning toward the government for help. And the current trend will continue away from democracy and freedom and towards centralized authority and political correctness or political conformity, whether you call it socialism or totalitarianism. At this time, most nations would not accept an antichrist ruler in the times we live in. We still have too many freedoms that we won't give up. But afterbirth pangs and disasters increase in intensity and frequency, and the end times draw nearer, governments will be shaken severely. And eventually, most nations will turn to the Antichrist for stability. And under the Antichrist, the man of lawlessness, unbelievers will have lots of freedom to sin. Those who take the mark will be able to buy and sell in the Babylon economy and get drunk on the wine of her immorality. Revelation 17:2. But we know that so-called freedom is really bondage to sin. Until then, the wickedness of the wicked will grow, and because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. Matthew 24:12. Their relationships will get more physical, more exploitative, more abusive, and more hateful. Titus 3:3. God will still love them. We must love them too. When more disasters come, we must be there to show the difference between God's love and the world's deception. And many will turn to the Lord. So get ready for great harvests of souls in the difficult times that are coming. Let's learn to make the most of those harvests. The title of our next session is Rescue Operations Will Grow Churches During Disasters. Until then, please read Psalm 146. Psalm 146. And consider visiting our website, endtimesguide.org. Thank you for joining this session from End Times Guide.